What's up, everybody, and welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about that newly released film, Last Night in Soho. It's one of those movies that's kind of been on my radar, but unfortunately my theater never played it, so sadly I never got to see it in theaters. It was directed by Edgar Wright. An aspiring young fashion designer who's obsessed with the 60s has this gift by being able to enter that time period where she encounters this wannabe singer. Things unfold very quickly as they start to crack and splinter into something really dark. It's one of those psychological horror films that you don't really come across that much. I mean, I don't anyway, but I enjoy a good suspense film. And that's what this was. Going on with the positives, and I'm just freely speaking here, I don't have no notes or anything, so I'm just going to speak my mind, so forgive me if I get off track. Most notably, I really did like the story for this. You know, looking at the trailers, I think there's like one or two trailers that was released for it, and it just really spoke to me. I knew it wasn't going to be like this splatter-filled slasher film that I usually talk the most about. I knew it wasn't going to be anything like that. But I had no idea what it was actually going to be about, because it was one of those movies that really confused you, especially when you started looking at the trailers and the advertisements. I was scratching my head the whole time watching the trailer. I was like, what the hell is this supposed to be about? And because of that, it intrigued me. It really did intrigue me. And whenever it came out in theaters, I was just sad knowing that my theater never decided to play it. So it is what it is, but, you know, it's on Blu-ray now. I rented it from Redbox, and woo, I gotta tell you, I was impressed. I'm gonna have to refer to my phone every now and then, because like I said, I didn't write any notes. I'm not trying to say that this is a bad movie, that I don't want to talk about this movie, because I do. You know, usually with my reviews, I usually just do notes and just map it all out. But I feel like this is one of those that you don't really need mapping out, because it's one of those that has a bunch of twists and turns, and I can't really say that much about it because it's still fresh. Like I said, I think it came out on Blu-ray like a week, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there. So it's still pretty fresh. So if you hadn't checked it out, I'd suggest you do so. But again, with the positives, I'd have to go with the female lead actor in this. And forgive me, Thomasin McKenzie. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I'm probably butchering it. She did a really good job. I mean, I really did like the way she carried this character out. She's the one that goes to London and tries to start a new life as a fashion designer. But while she's there, she keeps on having these visions. And it kind of specifies this earlier on, but she has like visions. She sees things. You knew that this girl had a special talent. She had a gift. So strange things starts happening. And she starts dreaming about this woman that lived in the 60s. Now keep in mind, the female lead in here is crazy about the 60s. She has records from that time. She, of course, she has the music. She listens to nothing but 60s music. So it kind of fit her perfectly for the story. She played it pretty well. So these strange things just starts happening. And she starts having visions. She starts having dreams. At a certain point, you're trying to, figure out, okay, who is this woman that she keeps on dreaming about? She keeps on visualizing about. And it pretty much comes clear when the movie goes on. Like I said, this is one of those psychological thrillers where you don't know what's going on, but it maps it out. You have to have patience. That's one thing I will say about this. You have to have patience. If you're not into movies like this, if you don't like psychological thrillers, because that's all this is, you probably won't like it. But if you are, like me, on occasion, again, I know I spout more about slashers and monster horror films and this and that, but I appreciate a good psychological thriller every now and then. And that's what this brought me. And it's just the all-around mystery of this. You try to figure out, okay, what the hell happened to this actress that was apparently a big thing in the 60s that everybody pretty much forgot about. It's just one of those that, as the movie progresses, you're like, oh, okay, that's what happened. Oh, okay, that's what happened. Oh! So you get my point. So just a bunch of things that happens in this. And at first you think that this is one of those supernatural thrillers, because that's how it came off to me in the trailers. And that's what I thought I was going to walk into when I rented this. But it's not really a supernatural thriller. It's not really a supernatural film. And that's not really giving anything away, but it's just more psychological than anything else. And it all falls on this girl that just happens to travel to London, and all this strange stuff keeps on happening. And then they do the Scream thing where they flip, the twists and turns on you. So it was pretty much like a landmine of what everybody was doing in this. So I really did appreciate that. Like I said, I like Edgar Wright. I don't really mention him that much, but the movies that he's come out with so far, I've enjoyed. Like I said, I have Hot Fuzz. I think that was the movie that I really started noticing him. And of course, before that, he did Shaun of the Dead, which I also have. And then he did The World's End, which was okay. I think that was the name of it. And then Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I like this guy's way of filmmaking. I think he does a pretty good job on his movies. Sometimes he makes them silly. Sometimes he makes them serious. And this is one of those where I think it's just in the more serious category. You don't get any comedy, which is what you got a lot of in Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Most of the ones that Nick Frost and I forget the other fellow's name, but like they act in a lot of those movies in the past. But I'm talking about Sean something, but I apologize, but he's in the Mission Impossible movies now, but just does a really good job in his films. And he did a terrific job on Last Night in Soho. And like I said, I know I seem like I'm ranting already, but once I get focused on stuff that I want to talk about, I just don't shut up, you know that. But the way that the mystery of everything, I won't give too much away. Like I said, this movie's still pretty fresh in the world. But the way everything just leads up to the final act, you'll find your jaw on the ground most of the time. And that's how surprising and shocking it was. Like I said, I had no idea what kind of movie I was getting into. I just kept on hearing about it. The more I heard about it, the more intrigued I was. The more intrigued I was, the more I'm like, okay, I seen it in her inbox, and I was like, I'm getting it. So when I popped that bad boy in, I was pretty much hooked. Now, like the first act of it, it does a nice build up, and it introduces you to this female, the lead character, and she has this gift that you don't really know what it is until she actually gets to London. She did it well. I mean, especially with all the emotions and all the confusion that she was going through. And then when I've got to mention Terence Stamp, and I know this may be irrelevant and maybe a little small minor thing, but I thought he did a really good job. He used to be in a lot of stuff that I watch. I think he's one of those actors that's kind of retired, but I don't really see him that much. You think one thing of this guy, and then I can't say that much without giving stuff away, but he did a pretty good job too. He's not in it that much, which is why I feel like most people looking at this part of the rant is like, you don't need to mention him. I've seen him in many other stuff that has pretty much got praise for me. So in terms of mixed and negatives, you're not going to find any here. This was a pretty well done movie. It was a pretty well made movie, and anybody who likes psychological thrillers, this is what this was. Now, it didn't have any blood or carnage candy, which it kind of did, but it benefited the story. A lot of horror movies, which I know it kind of passes me because I don't really care, but I still recognize that you got to have the right amount. If you're making a movie like this, and there is blood and carnage candy involved, it's got to benefit the story, and it really does. It really does. Most other horror movies, some other horror movies, they just splatter the entire screen, like just full blown. But Last Night in Soho really respected that aspect. It just brings this whole 60s storyline into focus, and I really did like that aspect. Anya Taylor-Joy, she did a really good job as this actress that the lead female in this film kept on dreaming about, kept on visualizing about, and all this weird stuff going on. And you try to figure out who the hell this girl is. At first I thought it was one thing, and then I was like, then they flipped it on me. That's what this movie does. That's what this movie, you can expect a lot of flipped overs, like a pancake. But Last Night in Soho was a really good, fun watch. I managed to watch it up front with the surround sound. There's some jump scares in there too, if you have it loud enough. This was a fun movie, and I recommend it to anybody who wants just a good time and a good story. Some good jump scares here and there, and some mystery, and some surprises. So if you're a fan of not only director Edgar Wright, but psychological thrillers as well, with plenty of surprises, twists, and turns, then you'll love this film and will be proud to put it on a pedestal. So last night in Soho, what did you guys think of it? Was this your favorite psychological horror film? Was this your favorite Edgar Wright film, or you prefer something else? Leave me your comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching through another rant of mine, and I will have more for you soon. Like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.